In a high school where beauty meant popularity and appearances shaped destiny, no one ever paid attention to Ben Carter, the quiet, chubby boy who always sat alone at the back of the classroom, sketching superheroes no one ever saw. He wasn't the guy girls whispered about in the hallways. He wasn't the boy chosen for group photos or prom dates. He was just invisible. Until she smiled at him. Lily Evans was everything he wasn't. Graceful, admired, effortlessly stunning. With a single glance, she could silence a room. And with a single smile, she changed Ben's world. No one knew why she started sitting beside him during lunch, or why she laughed at his silly doodles when the rest of the school barely noticed. He existed. Rumors swirled. Whispers flew. But Ben? He didn't care. Because for the first time in his life, someone saw him. This is not a story about the most popular guy getting the girl. This is a story about how a girl with everything and a boy with nothing discovered the kind of love no one expected, and everyone secretly longed for. Ben Carter was the kind of boy most people overlooked. In a sea of loud voices and flashy sneakers, he moved quietly, always clutching a sketchbook filled with heroes only he believed in. With round cheeks, a soft belly, and a laugh that came from deep. In his chest, Ben was often the target of lazy jokes. "Hey, move it, Bear," echoing down the hallways like background noise. But Ben never fought back. He just smiled, shrugged it off, and turned it into a comic strip later. His world was made of pencil lines, comic panels, and the smell of homemade spaghetti on Sunday nights. He didn't dream of being popular. He only dreamed of being seen. Lily Evans, on the other hand, was impossible to miss. With her ocean blue eyes, honey blonde waves, and a confidence that seemed almost unfair for a 17-year-old. She was the girl every guy wanted to sit next to, and every girl wanted to be. Cheer captain, honors student, the one who always looked perfect, even when she didn't try. But behind the flawless Instagram photos and charming smiles was a girl who often felt alone, surrounded by people but starved for honesty. Everyone loved her, but no one truly knew her. Until Ben. They sat in the same chemistry class but lived in different worlds. One invisible, one idolized. But fate, as always, had other plans. It happened on a Thursday morning, one of those ordinary days that somehow changes everything. The classroom buzzed with whispers and restless energy. Today was presentation day in chemistry, and even the overachievers were anxious. Lily Evans sat near the front, her flawless posture hiding the storm inside her. No one knew this part about her, how public speaking terrified her, how the thought of standing in front of her peers made her palms sweat and her chest tighten. She had always been the girl who looked like she had it all together. But that day, as her name was called, her legs felt like they were made of glass. She stood, paper trembling in her hand, eyes scanning a room that suddenly felt 100 times too bright. Then, silence. Her voice refused to come out. The class started to murmur, awkward and impatient. And just when Lily felt the walls closing in, "Wait, is this where the alien invades and zaps the lab rats?" a voice called out from the back. Laughter erupted. All eyes turned to Ben Carter, still seated, holding up a doodle of a cartoon alien with a test tube. The tension broke instantly. The teacher chuckled. "Ben, please." But the moment worked. The class relaxed. So did Lily. She took a breath, steadied herself, and began her presentation, her voice soft but steady. Afterward, she passed Ben's desk on the way back to her seat. "Thanks," she whispered. a shy smile curling on her lips. He looked up, surprised. "Anytime." From that moment, something shifted. Lily began to see Ben not as the chubby guy people joked about, but as someone with quiet courage and unexpected warmth. He didn't save her with muscles or charm. He saved her with kindness. And for the first time in a long while, Lily felt truly seen, not by the crowd, but by someone who never tried to impress anyone. Someone real. After that day in chemistry, something quietly bloomed between Lily and Ben. It wasn't loud or flashy, but it was real, like warm sunlight slipping through the cracks of an ordinary day. When preparations for the school festival began, Lily surprised everyone by volunteering. For the food booth, what no one knew was that she couldn't cook to save her life. She knew exactly who to ask. "Chef Bear, I need help," she whispered one afternoon, sliding into the library seat across from Ben with a sheepish smile. Ben blinked. "Did you just call me Chef Bear?" "It's kind of cute," she teased. That weekend, they met in the home economics kitchen. She chopped vegetables like they were fighting back, while Ben gently guided her, his hands brushing hers occasionally, just long enough to make her heart skip. They laughed over spilled flour and slightly burnt cookies. By the end of the day, Lily had flour on her nose, and Ben was smiling wider than he had in months. Then came the art project for the school hallway. They were paired up again. Ben showed Lily his secret sketchbook, filled with quirky, adorable drawings. On the last page, he revealed a chibi version of her. Big sparkling eyes, hair in soft curls, and a heart-shaped apron. It was clumsy and sweet, and it made her eyes sting a little. "No one's ever drawn me like this before," she whispered. "Not like I'm happy." "You looked happy that day," he said simply. One rainy evening, Lily didn't show up at school. Rumor had it she had the flu. That night, a bowl of warm homemade chicken porridge appeared quietly at her dorm door. No note, just a little napkin folded into a bear shape. She knew. She didn't say anything when she returned. But her eyes found Ben in the hallway, and they held his a little longer. Her smile that day wasn't the practiced kind she gave everyone else. It was just for him. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't pretend anymore. Good things don't go unnoticed, not in high school. It didn't take long for whispers to start. A few boys from the soccer team, fueled by jealousy and bruised egos, started mocking what they didn't understand. "You hear about Ben and Lily? Fat boys dreaming big. Must have bribed her with cookies. It started as jokes behind lockers, but soon it spread like wildfire. Ugly, twisted words painting Ben as some lovesick fool daring to reach beyond his place. The worst part? Someone had edited one of his sketches, his chibi drawing of Lily, and posted it online with a cruel caption, "When the bear thinks he's the prince." Lily saw it. She froze, her face blank as the comments flooded her feed. People started asking her, "Are you actually into him? Or is this some charity thing?" She didn't know how to respond. She wasn't ashamed of Ben, but the sudden spotlight made her panic. The next day, she didn't sit with him at lunch. She avoided his gaze in the hallway. When he waved, she looked away. Ben noticed. He heard the laughter, saw the stares. But nothing hurt more than her silence. He stood by his locker longer than usual that afternoon, waiting for her. She never came. That night, he sat alone in his room. Sketchbook closed for the first time in weeks. His mind replayed. The jokes, the stares, and the way Lily, his Lily, had looked right through him. Of course, he thought. Why would someone like her choose someone like me? He told himself to forget, to go back to being invisible. That maybe, just maybe, this was all a dream he never should have believed in. But what he didn't know was that Lily wasn't ignoring him out of shame. She was afraid of the truth she was only just beginning to realize. That somewhere along the way she had stopped pretending. The day of the school festival arrived with music, colors, and laughter echoing through the courtyard. Students bustled between booths, dressed in costumes, enjoying games and food. It was the biggest event of the semester. But one person was missing. Ben didn't show up. The art booth felt emptier without his quiet smile. The food stand, where he was supposed to help Lily, sat half-finished. Lily kept glancing toward the gates, hoping he'd walk in, holding one of his ridiculous tote bags and pretending not to care. But he never did, and that's when she knew. It wasn't just about a partner or a project anymore. She missed him in a way that made her heart ache. And she hated herself for letting fear speak louder than her feelings. As the sun began to set, the festival closed with a student talent showcase. Lily was scheduled to introduce the last act. But when she stepped onto the stage, she didn't hold the microphone like usual. She held it with trembling hands. "There's someone I want to talk about," she began, voice soft but clear. "Someone who showed me that kindness matters more than charm, that laughter from the heart is more precious than compliments, that love doesn't care about appearances." The crowd grew quiet. "He helped me when I was at my most vulnerable. He taught me to laugh at myself. He makes the best spaghetti I've ever had. And he draws the silliest cartoons that somehow make me feel beautiful." Her voice cracked. "But I hurt him. And I never said I was sorry." Somewhere at the edge of the courtyard, just beyond the crowd, Ben stood frozen. He had come to the festival after all, only to stay hidden in the shadows. But now, as he heard his name without being spoken, something broke inside him. He stepped forward. The crowd turned. Gasps filled the air as Ben walked slowly toward the stage, eyes glassy, heart pounding. Lily saw him and smiled like the sun. The auditorium didn't erupt. It didn't need to. It went still, because in that moment, everyone understood. This wasn't a story about popularity or pity. It was love, the quiet kind, the real kind. Life didn't magically change after the school festival. There were still whispers in the hallway, and a few stares that lingered too long. But Lily didn't care anymore, and neither did Ben, because now they walked together, not hand in hand at first. It started with shared lunches under the big oak tree, late-night texts filled with doodles and jokes, and moments when their eyes found each other across the classroom, smiling at something only they understood. Eventually, those small moments grew into something undeniable. They weren't the perfect couple everyone expected. Ben still wore oversized hoodies and carried snacks in his backpack. Lily still got nervous when people looked too closely. But they fit, like two mismatched puzzle pieces that somehow clicked in the most beautiful way. One afternoon, as the bell rang and students spilled out into the courtyard, Lily turned to Ben and grinned. "Hey, Bear," she whispered, standing on tiptoe. Before he could ask what she meant, she kissed him, right there, in front of everyone. Soft and sure. Gasps. Laughter. A cheer or two. Ben blinked, stunned. What was that for? She smirked. For being you. Then she leaned in and whispered just loud enough for him to hear. "I like you, Ben. even with the belly, especially with the belly. He laughed, blushing bright red, and pulled her into a hug. And in that moment, beneath the golden afternoon sun, with laughter floating around them like confetti, they were just two kids, learning what it meant to love and be loved back, exactly as they were. This story reminds us that true beauty goes far beyond appearances. It's about kindness, courage, and seeing someone's heart instead of just their outside. Ben and Lily's journey shows us how love can grow quietly, between laughter, small acts of care, and honest moments. Sometimes the people we least expect become the ones who teach us the most about ourselves and what it means to truly connect. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever felt judged by others because of how you look or what others say? How did you find the courage to be yourself? Or maybe you've experienced a friendship or relationship that surprised you in the most beautiful way. Tell us your story in the comments below. If you enjoyed this heartfelt story, don't forget to hit the like button